I have a confession to make. I am absolutely obsessed with dark academia. Maybe it's because I was a college student during the pandemic and didn't get the full college experience, but this genre, the dark, macabre, late-night studying, the murders that take place with a group of close-knit students is my absolute favorite. And for many people, The Secret History embodies this genre. In today's video, we're going to answer the question once and for all, is The Secret History worth the hype? Going into this video, I already have a confession to make. I've actually already read The Secret History 2 years ago. Since I read that book, not a day goes by that I don't think of it. I am just obsessed with that book. In general society's opinion, that's like the hallmark of dark academia, and I 100% agree with that idea. However, it's been 2 years since I've read it, and I'm really curious about if I'm going to like it as much now. When I first read The Secret History, I finished it, and for me, it was kind of like a solid 3 to 4 star read at first. I was like, oh, this was good. It was very different, but I think it went on a little bit long. And then the longer I went without reading that, the more obsessive I became over it. It's like it burrowed into my mind and I couldn't stop thinking about it and couldn't stop romanticizing it, which is really ironic because the main point of The Secret History is to not romanticize dark academia. And here we are now, 2 years later, completely still obsessed with The Secret History, thinking about it every single day. But I have something new that I want to try with The Secret History. It's something I've never done in a book before that might impact what I feel about it. Before we get to my reading experiment of the week, what exactly is dark academia? So dark academia is basically this internet trend that became really popular around 2020. It romanticizes academic living, so kind of like university life, but pulling from the aesthetic of the 1940s through the 1990s. The biggest film in the dark academia world is The Dead Poets Society. The Secret History is often known as the biggest book in this genre. There's also fashion that you can pull from that's dark academia-esque. I might try my own dark academia outfits throughout this vlog, even though I feel like I'm much more of a light academia girly. It's generally just kind of romanticizing dark, moody, academic settings and plot lines. The Secret History really embodies both a dark, moody setting in academia and a dark, moody plot line that includes university students. The Secret History starts off, we learn that a group of students at a university in New England have killed their best friend. Going into the book, we know that this best friend was murdered by them, but we don't know why they did it or how they did it. The book kind of takes us through the how and the why of the process. And the thing I really love about The Secret History is, one, the lyrical, beautiful writing style, but two, it really messes with you psychologically. You just really feel like you're in the shoes of these murderers, which is really just such a mind twist, and it just really got to me and made me think in a way that no other book has, if that makes sense, and really just allowed me to experience this story that is so unique and unlike anything else that I've ever read. Now, my reading experiment of the week. An issue I have in general, not just with The Secret History, but with almost every book I read, is that I read them too fast, and I don't really take the time to enjoy them, to savor the well-written words, to remember the plot. And I have 2 things I want to implement in 2024 to change that. This week we're going to be implementing one thing because implementing one new habit is much easier than implementing 2 new habits. That habit is annotating The Secret History. I've never annotated a book before, and it's always kind of been a little bit overwhelming to me because I like to read for fun, and sometimes I feel like if I have highlighters or pens near me, it feels more like work. But I think I can do it in a way that doesn't feel like work and allows me to savor the plot more and to savor the good quotes more. The Secret History seems like a great book to start off with because I absolutely adore Donna Tartt's writing style. I think there'll be a lot of really great things to annotate in this book. I've gathered some potential annotation supplies. If it looks like this is an aggressive amount of highlighters, it's because it is. These are all different brands of highlighters, and so I want to try them all on like a sheet of paper first to see which ones bleed through the paper and which ones don't. So we're going to do a highlighter test before we get to reading. And then I also have some post-it notes. These are just the post-it notes I could find around my house. They're not my preferred post-it notes. I don't know if I have a preferred post-it note. I've never actually thought about that with regards to annotating before, but I know it's not these ones. This one is too big. It's just too big to be annotating with. And then these ones, I like the size. I think these are really good sizes, but I'm just not sure how I feel about these, like if they're fun enough, if that makes sense. So I don't have time today, but maybe tomorrow we're gonna go shopping for some post-it notes. We shall see if that happens or not, but until then, I think these ones will do pretty well. I'm also like really overwhelmed because I was watching people's annotation videos and they had like different colors for different aspects of the book, but what overwhelmed me about that is that going into the book, I don't know what I want to annotate for, and so I can't really tell you guys right now what I'm going to be annotating for. I think that's something we will discover as this experiment progresses. Two things I think I definitely want to be annotating for in this book are one, foreshadowing, because I've read the book before, so it'll be really interesting to see where Donna Tartt is foreshadowing the outcome that I already know happens. And then two, for lyrical writing. I absolutely adore the way Donna Tartt writes, and I want to capture all the really great quotes, maybe make some TikToks and reels from them, share them in this video perhaps if they're not spoilery, and just generally soak in the genius writing style that is Donna Tartt's writing style. Without further ado, let's start this highlighter test and then get to rereading The Secret History. Okay, highlighter test time. I'm actually going to sacrifice my journal so that we can see what it looks like on this page and if it bleeds through or not in like a book-like thing. Pen 1, pen 2. Also, I've been calling these pens and they're literally highlighters, but this is highlighter 3. That's a really thick yellow. Highlighter 4, highlighter 5, and highlighter 6, which in my opinion is the least likely to pass the test. And then the sound was lost, so this is editing Angela now, but we are about to flip the page and see which ones bled through. As you can see, the blue really bled through. I personally am very much a fan of the yellow one because you can't even see the yellow one on this page, so absolutely perfect. In case you are curious, the winner was this one. It is called Pocket Accent, and it is in this yellow. So let's see if I can zoom in on the brand name. Maybe, maybe not. Now it's time to get a reading and get a annotating. It's been about a week since I filmed that intro, and thinking back on a week, I was so full of promise and potential and excitement about annotating, and now all of that is completely gone. I have only read 100 pages of The Secret History in the last week. I've actually read multiple other books, and every time I've been reading it, I felt so overwhelmed and I've just been completely overthinking. So like I've been overthinking like, oh my god, like should I be tabbing this? Should I not be tabbing this? Should I need a post-it note for this? What should I write in the post-it note? How am I going to remember what this quote was about? It's just been overwhelming. I have not bought cuter post-it notes either, and I just am starting to realize that maybe annotating isn't for me. And then like, so in the clip today, I was trying to do annotating again with like the highlighters and the post-it notes. But then like yesterday I was reading the book a little bit and I wanted to annotate something and I didn't have the post-it notes or the highlighters with me. So then I just ended up like underlining it with pen and starring it. And so this entire process has been a disaster. And it's made reading, which is my time to kind of escape and just kind of read for fun and enjoyment, it's made it into something where I'm overthinking everything and wondering if I'm doing it right. Like, am I annotating the right way? Which is so stupid. And I feel like 9 out of 10 people would not have this problem if they tried annotating, but apparently I'm that 1 in 10. These stats are completely made up, by the way. I just think it is not for me. So I'm going to continue reading The Secret History. We're going to have more updates, but I probably won't be annotating anymore. Or if I do, I'll just be like highlighting things in a very disorganized way that will make sense to no one except me. So today was a rainy day, the perfect day to read a dark academia book, and I tried to do a dark academia outfit and fully did not understand the assignment. I'll like pan over to a shot of me like fully in this outfit, but just imagine that this sweater was more of like a blazer, maybe like a dark plaid blazer or something like that, and I think it might be at least semi-dark academia. Comment down below that if you think if I had a blazer that this outfit would be more dark academia than it is right now, but as it is, like I look like someone who works in a corporate office, which is just great. But anyways, back to the reading updates, which is what you all actually care about. I am almost done with The Secret History. I really want to film myself reading the end of it because I remember last time that the ending was just so shocking and dark and macabre in a way that no other ending of a book has been for me. It was just such a weird ending. And the interesting thing about when you reread The Secret History is the first time there's so many bizarre things going on. It's almost impossible to even analyze who the characters are because you're just so weirded out by everything. And the second time around, I feel like I'm getting a little bit more into analyzing the characters and realizing just how psychologically messed up they really are. And I think that that's one of the beauties of this book is that you can go back and reread it, and every single time you get something new from reading it. Next to me, you might have seen in the B-roll, is this puzzle, and it is like the absolute most fun puzzle ever. It's kind of a really bad recommendation for me to be giving because I think it was made in like the 1980s and probably isn't available anymore, but it's basically like this talking jigsaw puzzle where there's all these different apartment squares and there's like different things happening. Like one person will be like, oh my god, the party down in 4F is so noisy, and so then you know that person is above 4F. So you basically like construct all these different apartment squares and then have to put them in the right position in the apartment, and the box doesn't tell you what the right position is, so you're just like doing all the clues. It is so fun. In my opinion, winter is for eating soup, reading dark academia or fantasy books, and doing puzzles and other cozy activities. Okay, but back to The Secret History, and I will add in a clip of me reading the final scene to see if it's as shocking as I remember. I'm as shocked as the first time I read it. Wow, that ending, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but it's just such a crazy ending. And one of my favorite things throughout the entire book is that Donna Tartt really plays with language in a way that a lot of like overhyped fantasy and romance books today just don't. It made me really question if I'm reading books just because it's fast and easy to get into the plot, versus if I'm reading enough books where I can really savor the language and really respect that the writer was balancing out the plot with really gorgeous language and playing with the English language while writing it. Another thing I think The Secret History does really well is it really plays with the character's psychology in a way that is reminiscent of Jane Austen. And yes, I did just compare The Secret History to Jane Austen, which is the weirdest comparison of all time. But in my mind, it makes sense because in The Secret History, it is about the external plot, but it's really much more about the internal world of our main character and some of the other characters in the book. Between the psychological aspect of the book and the amazing prose in the book, this is a fantastic book if you want to annotate, and I think anyone who likes annotating books such as beautiful language will really appreciate this book. That being said, my experiment to annotate did not go the best, and I think there's a couple of reasons for that. First off, I think I'm just not an annotator. Something about it just really triggered some like anxiety in me. It made me wonder if I was doing this right and kind of triggered my perfectionism, which isn't necessarily what I want to be doing when I'm reading because I read for fun. It is simply a hobby for me. I am really glad that I tried annotating because I think it's really important to just kind of try new things, see what works, see what doesn't work. You won't know if something is your favorite reading habit unless you try it. So if you are watching this video and you have never annotated before, highly recommend trying it, and I think The Secret History History is a fantastic book to annotate, or even a first book to annotate. I just failed at it, but that's life. Whether you're looking for your next read to annotate or not to annotate, whether you're a fan of dark academia or you're new to the genre, whether you want a really great plot or really great writing, The Secret History by Donna Tartt should be on your list if you haven't read it already.